Good morning, happy Thursday. I mean, almost, well, we are through the week. What am I saying? Um, yeah, hope you enjoyed Lionel Hampton yesterday. That was great solo by Stardust. Uh, you know, great Stardust solo. That was a lot of fun. Today we're going to relook at a guy, a real hero in my mind, but somebody who never gets credit, a restaurateur. We don't really talk about restaurateurs here. And so we're going to go back to revisit an LA class and look at Clifton's. Clifton's Cafeteria. You would think it's named after somebody named Clifton, but no, it's Clifford Clinton. That's the guy we're going to be talking about today. I mean, a hell of a sweet guy, it sounds like. So he just combined both names, just like Western and Wilton became the Wiltern, right? I don't know, is this an LA thing where people combine things? So he's a restaurateur, and he, created, there was about 8 of them in LA, and Clifton's is the one we're going to be talking about downtown. That's why I showed you that opening. But just the cafeteria in general, smorgasbord in Scandinavia, late 19th century. But then it comes to the United States. But in 1905, LA is really the one that takes this to a whole new level of cafeteria style, for better or worse. It's really 1905 is when a lady, Helen Mosher, opened a downtown LA restaurant where people could, you could just go and choose which food you wanted, and carry your tray. So we came up with the craze of this cafeteria thing. But then when Clifford comes in, he really creates a series of restaurants. This guy, he was son of Salvation Army parents. His parents he went to China as a kid and looked at all the horrible poverty and said, I don't want people to go hungry. And he really put his money where his mouth is. I mean, what he did was really great. He did not want to let Americans, Angelenos, go hungry. So he's born in 1900, United States, grows up in the Bay Area, dies in 1969. So not that old, but I mean, probably back in that day. And yeah, his parents were Christians and very active in Salvation Army. And so he comes down, his dad did a little bit of doing some restaurants up north, but he comes down to LA and really starts by the 30s. 1931 opens up the first location, which is on Olive Street. The one we're kind of looking at and talking about is on Broadway, which he opened up in 1935. And this building's designed by Welton Beckett. We know Welton, right? Capitol Records, he did that, along with a lot of other stuff. So some of these pictures are going to be groovy because it's very cool inside. It's a strange thing. Welton was really good friends with Walt Disney, and a lot of people said that Disney went to Clifton's and was inspired by all these kind of weird designs because the architecture, it's like Fantasyland in there. But this is before Disneyland, so Disney was, of course, influenced by European, castles and all that stuff. But a lot of this fantasy environment was something that, fantasy architecture is something that Clifton kind of just elevated to this different level. So if we just back up, I mean, with LA history, we've usually talked about, Huntington and the railroad, Harry Chandler and the LA Times and the Dynasty. We've talked about Mulholland and the water. These men were great men. Their flaws, just like everybody, they were mostly interested in power and money. Clifford's not really. Clifford is really. This is why it's going to be kind of an interesting story in a different kind of class, because he wasn't about power. Or glory or money, really. I mean, and so that's different already because we've talked about mostly people interested in that. So by the 30s, cafeterias are super popular and trendy. Now it's something that we go to with our grandparents, if at all it exists. At least I did. But very, celebrities would go there. Movie stars would go to the cafeterias back in the day. So as we know, downtown was just a great hub for all this thriving, we talked about the Broadway district, and this is on Broadway. So exciting in the 30s of all these beautiful, gorgeous buildings like the Eastern Columbian that we looked at, and the banks were down there, beautiful movie palaces, So you could just go down and go to the cafeteria and go into this kind of fantasyland world. The 30s, we did tunnels in Los Angeles and talked a little bit about mobsters, which I hope wasn't too scary for the kids. A lot of corruption in LA. I mean, we could do a whole other class, maybe we will, just on what was going on. There's always been corruption. There's probably corruption as we're speaking, for sure. But in the 30s, it was really rampant because you had gambling houses, prostitution, everything was really out of control, and the police were paid off. It's the same old Godfather story. It's the same story. But Clifford really wanted to crack down on a lot of this, which takes some balls because, you know, you're just kind of serving food. But he got involved in trying to shut a lot of these places down. He starts cracking down, and he's not accepting some of these payoffs. And of course, in true Godfather fashion, what does that mean? Is he going to be, well, he almost was killed. They planted a bomb in his house in Los Feliz, and he was fine. His family was fine, but he got some real threats for speaking out against the corrupt mayor, Frank Shaw, who had his brother in there with him. Super corrupt. And then his real estate taxes increased. He was denied a permit for a new cafeteria. It's funny when you think, okay, like if you're going to go against us, just see if things work out for you, and they won't. So really bad, so corrupt back then. Things got violent with the bomb. He ran for mayor. He wasn't successful, but he stood up a lot for what he thought was right. So when he opens Brookdale, which is kind of the one we're looking at, I mean, it could serve 15,000 people a day, or, you know, seat them. No other place on earth supposedly could seat that many people. And so if we think about the 30s, it's depression, right? I mean, and so, but he was feeding up to 10,000 people a day. So 10 to 15,000 people, and a lot of this was free. It was pay what you can, and if you can't pay, then enjoy the food anyway. It sounds, well, it's utopian for sure. I mean, so it was free if you used some of these redeemable tickets that they would give out, and a lot of these tickets were given to homeless people, so many people could even eat for free. I mean, it's an unbelievable thing. So it would just be, and also this was before civil rights. Clifford was just like, black people can come in here and eat. It's no problem with that. So when you think of somebody who's, you know, really just a unique person, thinker, activist, he was a real hero. So he never turned away people that couldn't afford a meal if you showed up and you were hungry. So, I mean, his business policy was, you know, regardless of the amount of this check, our cashier will cheerfully accept whatever you wish to pay, or you may dine free. I can't figure it out. It's amazing he didn't go bankrupt, but somehow this philosophy, you know, and his big heart went a long way. So inside, it's like I said, groovy. I mean, a lot of this had to do with Clifford's upbringing up in Northern California. There's murals, jungle murals, palm trees. It's crazy. There used to be every 20 minutes like a rain shower, and there's waterfalls going through. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it looked like a mountain lodge, and trees, you know, I mean, obviously all artificial. Cool though. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and this is all going on as you're eating, as you're dining. And, you know, they had what we think we have: roast beef, brisket, meatloaf, turkey, mashed potatoes, you know, jello, salads, cakes, pies, everything that you would want. So just an amazing man. Today, 2018, the cafeteria closed, and now it's a high-end bar. So it's Clifton's Republic. So it's very exclusive there now. So at least they didn't tear it down, but it's not a cafeteria anymore. So just thought we'd look at Clifford Clinton. Real gentleman. I mean, amazing how he just offered his food, and how that stood up to corruption in Los Angeles. And you know, and then there were several all around town, several different you know, locations. So hope you enjoyed this. This was kind of fun just to look at cafeteria, and somebody that wasn't so interested in power and didn't wasn't prone to corruption or anything like that. Just wanted to feed people. Something that, gosh, I wish we could take notice today, California or Los Angeles in particular, that a lot of people are hungry. So if there's anything we can do. Yeah. So Clifford Clifton, I mean, what a amazing guy, huh? And had so much pressure from the mob, from the LA mob, that ran government. And still, never really got rubbed out, although he was close to getting killed. But amazing that he 15,000 people a day could sit there, and he served about 10,000 people meals a day there. So just an amazing figure. And it's nice that it's still there. It's too bad it's kind of an exclusive bar now, but at least the building's still there and still named that. But you can't have everything, but thought it was cool to look at that place. Okay, so tomorrow we see film scoring results for Pink Panther. Can't wait to show you that. Have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the day, and see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.